What's happening, Cryptosomniacs? We are live. Welcome to another episode of Trader Talk. Today we are joined by myself, Jason. I've got Snay up here over my shoulder. Up over there, I'm picking Snay's nose, is James in the top left corner. And joining us today, we have got our friend Crypto Blood, who we met at the YouTuber retreat. I enjoyed a lot of his perspectives, and pretty savvy guy about financial markets. And also does a lot of coding of his own bots and things. So actually, I should just let you introduce yourself. Crypto Blood, do you want to go ahead and give everybody a little bit of background?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Man, a man of many hats. I've been a vending machine owner, coder, run a web development company now, trader, and build algorithms, play basketball, a number of things. But I'm glad to be here. I've been in cryptos for 5.5 years now. So learning every day, just enjoying the ride, man.
It's a fun adventure to be on, certainly. A bit of an emotional roller coaster day to day, but certainly an exciting adventure. And I'm looking forward to the future that we can usher in with this tech.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Absolutely.
So it looks like we got a couple people joining on Twitter. It looks like we've got a couple of longtime fans. Rip Rapoo to the moon. What's happening? Icon, always a good supporter.
Rip Rapoo. That is hilarious.
Yeah, that dude is it's a great name. And then Ryan Jack, also a longtime supporter. They've all been enjoying the roundtable discussions. So I'm glad you guys are liking the content. Certainly trying to provide the most engaging and entertaining stuff out there. So hopefully we are achieving that goal.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I guess we just kind of wanted to talk, I know some of the things that you were talking about on the panel discussion that I thought were interesting was just your perspective on the financial markets, which is why I wanted to bring you on, because I feel like a lot of people forget why it's important to, what it is, what the whole point of Bitcoin was in the first place, right? A lot of people just use it to leverage into turning into more fiat currency, but really it was invented as an alternative to fiat currency because the house of cards that was our subprime mortgage crisis is really the first thing that led to it here in the States anyway.
Yeah, and if you put it in context as far as when Bitcoin kind of hit the public eye, it was right around after the financial crisis. So that kind of lets you know, the whole purpose for it was to definitely transition us away from that failing system. So it's going on much longer than I thought. As many of you guys probably feel the same way. I thought we would be, into some new version of capitalism by now, but we're still kicking along. They're kicking the can and moving the goalposts. So
I love crypto, but I don't think I would consider myself an optimist, right? But just think of, if you're thinking about the internet, right? The internet was created I think the exact date, I think it's 1983, 85. Anyways, it took 15 to 17 years.
Al Gore created it, right?
Yeah, Al Gore. It's a series of tubes, right? That's what he said. It's a series of tubes, right? But anyways, it took 17 years, until the year 2000, where there was actually a usable platform where people were able to communicate efficiently. Like if you had dial-up back in '97, you cannot think that is the future, right? But I feel like right now Bitcoin is at dial-up right now.
I agree.
Yeah, and it wasn't even really until we had these that the internet became what it is now. Like as soon as the smartphone came out, that's when we really started to, realize the potential of what the internet could be as a commerce tool and. In addition to with all the ways they were using it during the Arab Spring uprising and things like that, there would have been no way to predict that stuff because, we still thought it was, beam me up Scotty sci-fi until these devices became.
I think the craziest thing is, before the internet was, before you were connected to the internet, before Wikipedia, Everpedia, and what was that other one? It was like it was like an encyclopedia on your internet. It was like CD-ROMs. Do you guys remember?
Yeah. Microsoft, wasn't it by Microsoft?
It was. Was it Encyclopedia Britannica? Or that was the actual encyclopedias, but I totally remember it.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I had it on Windows 95, I think.
Yeah. So just that alone, like we have more access. We have like if you just had a library and a university next to you, we have millions of times more information than all these universities and libraries combined. Like the internet is such a powerful tool, but I think blockchain will be that right now. But right now we're in the dial-up.
Well, I make that analogy when I talk to people who are Bitcoin maximalists. I'm like, are you a Netscape maximalist right now? No, you would be laughed at if you were still running around saying Netscape is the best thing ever since sliced bread. So it's the same thing, with Bitcoin, cryptos. We don't know where the future is going to go with this thing. Be open-minded about it. And I think if you're open-minded about it, you can help move the community forward.
That's true. Right now, I would say we're in like the RuneScape era, right? And then we'll be ending up at Fortnite and Minecraft, hopefully.
RuneScape, I remember that one.
I just had some comments about my vocal level. Is it better now? Vocal level good? More commensurate with everybody else, hopefully? Anyway, just checking. Sorry to interrupt, guys.
It's all good. So yeah, man.
So yeah, I see. I had a few topics kind of outlined that I just wanted to kind of bounce off everybody and get some feedback on. So let me just pull up my little list here, and we'll get into the fun chat.
Sweet.
So Crypto Blood, while he's pulling up those questions, top 5 coins, altcoins, not Bitcoin or Ethereum.
Man, you put me on the spot. Let's see here. EOS for sure. That's my home team right there. I'm liking Tron a lot now. What else, man? Actually, basic attention token. I like that concept.
Yeah, I heard they just hit 2 million users. That's incredible.
Yeah, I really like that project. What else, man? Shoot, man, I don't know.
You privacy coin guy?
Monero. Yeah. I like Monero.
But let's rewind a little bit. You just said EOS, man. EOS?
Yes, sir.
Really?
Yeah,
why?
Absolutely.
You got to tell me why.
Because first let me ask you why not.
All right, why? So I'm on the dev side, right? And so I've been trying to integrate EOS for a while into my own wallet. I own Monarch wallet, so we've been trying to integrate EOS for a while. It is expensive as hell just to get a domain name. Just to get like a 12-character domain name. It's like $1.50 per user. On top of that,
that's expensive.
Yeah, that's way more expensive than Ethereum, which is free $99, right?
Oh man, come on. So let me ask you this: if we're going to use Ethereum in the real world, are people going to pay to play? I'm saying the end user. They're not. That to me, that business model is not scalable. But it has to be the other way around.
But look at EOS. Like it's like just to run a simple dApp, you have to own so much bandwidth, so much network bandwidth. Right? That's not feasible at all, right?
No, I agree.
And on top of that, the delegates. There's only 20 delegates. That's extremely corruptible. There's already scams going around where these delegates are essentially getting buying and selling their own votes, right, to other delegates, right?
And this is what a free market looks like, right? Until it grows, until it matures, it's 6 months old at this point. So as it matures and the concentration of votes begins to spread out, you'll see that, and I'm fine with that. I mean, I think that's going to change. I know it's going to change for sure as more people start using it and more people start staking their votes.
What's Brock Pierce's company? Block One, right?
Block One. Yep.
Yeah, and so
he's not part. He's not. I think he's kind of stepped away from that.
Oh yeah, actually, you know what? He is just currently representing the Bitcoin Foundation. I actually.
Bitcoin, and he also is the he owns that hedge fund, the crypto hedge fund. What is it? I forgot what it is, but he's
why does EOS need to raise $2 billion? Because I feel like EOS is the reason why Ethereum. I feel like EOS is the reason why Ethereum is being dumped right now.
Not at all. They've already sold all their tokens about 3-4 months ago.
All Ethereum, really?
Yes.
Really?
So
Wow.
they're definitely not the reason. And then secondly, they didn't have to raise anything. The market gave them $4 billion. They didn't ask for $4 billion.
But they put their max cap at what was it? What was it? 1 million ETH, right? That was the max cap, right?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about that one. But I mean, they were, it was 2 million, I think, tokens every day for 365 days. What Dan was trying to do was make it more equitable for individuals to participate, making a year-long thing. But again, you have these things that you set out to do. This is like in business. You have a roadmap, a blueprint, and it doesn't always pan out that way. So.
Yeah, well, I'm going to wait and see. I'm going to stay neutral and not speculate.
But that's
About
what's
time you said something, James.
That's what scares the hell out of me, though. Is for example, actually today, I think, or yesterday, everyone got that email. If you're on Bittrex, they're discontinuing support for BitShares, the wallet, right?
Yep.
So everyone used to have BitShares. It was one of the earliest cryptocurrencies.
Mm-hmm.
Now it seems like it's falling by the wayside because Dan Larimer left. And if Dan Larimer left EOS, it would be another shit show, right?
He actually didn't leave. I don't think they voted him in. So he deployed BitShares, and somehow in the process, I didn't really follow BitShares at its inception, but at some point, like, they went to vote, and he wasn't one of the ones that was voted in or something crazy. It was something crazy. But I mean, yeah. So he left BitShares, he goes over to Steam It, builds that up, then he leaves that, and now so it looks like he's one of those guys that builds a project and leaves. But I look at it differently, man. He said numerous times that EOS is the ideal project that he's been waiting to build. So we'll see. I look at it from the BPs. Like I talked to EOS Tribe, EOS Detroit, EOS Israel, all types of BPs all around the world, and they're working hard, man. It's more the community that I'm very impressed with.
That's true. That's true. What do you think about Cardano then? Because you got to hate it or love it, right?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't follow it that much. When I did look at it, I'm like, they were so overvalued with no project. I just kind of skimmed over it. And the same thing happened with Tron. I was the same way with Tron. They had a white paper. They were valued at I don't know how many billions. Right. And so I completely just skipped over it until a few months ago when they started really hitting those milestones. I'm pretty impressed. So.
That's true, but they are like mortal enemies, Charles Hoskinson and Dan Larimer.
Yeah.
I'm not
both smart though.
To have an enemy, but
both smart. I couldn't compete with them.
Hopefully one day I'll have a mortal enemy. I'll be successful enough to have a
rival.
Right? They say you didn't make it until you got some haters, right?
Yeah, that's true. That's the truth. All right, cool.
Yeah. So let's just roll it back. I wanted to start because again, I feel like a lot of people come to this market as they start to get financially savvy. So one of the first questions I had is when did you first start to pay attention to money and economics? At what age, and how do you think it's affected your life going forward? I mean, did you pay attention early and it worked well, or did you, people tried to talk to you about money young and you were like, nah, this is for everybody. So. What do you guys think? I know for myself, I got it when I was about 24 years old. Talked to an investment advisor, and I couldn't calculate it, but I understood how compound interest works, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, so starting earlier is better. And but I didn't become nearly the amateur economist that I am now until crypto.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Yeah, me, man, 18, bro, right out of high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I observed how the wealthy operated and did things, and I noticed, I did a compare and contrast. I said, okay, well, wealthy people have a real estate portfolio, they have equities, they have, and I'm just looking at all these things. I'm like, I just intrigued me. So that's kind of when I got started. 18. You guys remember Share Builders?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first account that I set up, and kind of went from there, from Share Builders to E-Trade, and that's where I still have an account.
Nice. That's what about you guys? What about you, James? Like you're
I was,
literally like in the business, so.
I was hustling Jordan rookie cards when I was 10. So, yeah, since that younger age, I used to go to Trash and Treasure with my father, and I'd have lucky dips and sell basketball cards. And I guess I've always entrepreneured since then, and always been aware of finance. I went into financial markets after high school, financial advisor, planner, stockbroker, and never looked back really. I've always had my own businesses and not been an entrepreneur, so I was into economics young. I understand the value of money quite early on, and plus my culture, my background was about that kind of thing as well. So about saving money, saving and being prepared for the future.
Yeah.
And so Jason, we got a few comments. Turn up your mic. If you
I
can.
tried to turn it up. Is it better now, guys? I keep turning it up on the limiter. It's peaking and it looks like it's clipping real bad on my audio levels. So
I think you need to. I think you need to turn up your Skype program.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry. Anyways, my background is actually not in finance at all. I've been in the tech background for majority of my life. I got my undergrad in engineering, master's in engineering, and then went on to do automation engineering for a couple Fortune 500 companies. And I did traditional smart contracts. Might as well do decentralized smart contracts now, right? So, got to embrace the future.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that same with me actually. I started with kind of on the tech side. 14, started coding. I coded actually punters. Remember punters? AOL chat punters?
Yeah.
In Visual Basic. Yeah, I used to code those, and that kind of me having the passion for finance around 18, 19, and then having some coding experience. That was all like Bitcoin was the culminating event. Like it just put both of those things together. And when I saw it, man, I'm like, man, I got to get into this. The night I saw it, I actually went out and went to CVS and purchased some.
It found the Bitcoin ATM.
No, they didn't have them back then. I went through BitInstant, Charlie Shrim's company.
Yeah.
I mean, so this is what scares the shit out of me. It's like, I was too young personally. I was too young for the 2000 tech bubble, right? Where all these .com companies, just because they had an internet website, they were being valued at millions of dollars, and people were getting rich and successful, and overnight. But more importantly, people were gaining valuable experience that they could carry on in their life cycle, right? In their entire career life cycle. And to me, I just felt like cryptocurrency is the future. I don't know for sure, but 95% positive that it's the future, right? Whether it be cryptocurrencies or just blockchain technology, I wanted to immerse myself in it, before. I don't want to be like those people like, oh, the internet's never going to work, The emails, I'm never going to send an email. Like, I don't even know how to type on a keyboard, but, it is still complex. For example, transaction history, signing transactions, waiting for a block confirmation. All that's pretty complex, and you don't have to be the smartest person, but you need to be somewhat blockchain savvy to transact cryptocurrency still to this day, right? And that's how you had to be kind of in the .com boom, where like, hey, I needed to work out this bug. I needed to know how to troubleshoot my router. I needed to know how to do all these. I got to install more AOL disk for me to get more internet. Things like that. Things like that. And that's where we're at right now. It's so slow and archaic right now, but I think it's getting better and better, and hopefully, things like EOS, could start speeding up this process.
Well, I think this the block like third generation blockchains. Period. EOS, Tron. You've got Cardano. I don't know if you follow Cardano. I don't really, but I would consider that a Gen 3 blockchain. Quantum.
So pretty much anything delegated proof of stake, right? So Dan Lermer's the inventor of delegated proof of stake.
That's right.
You would think his company would be the best, right?
Maybe not. I don't know.
That's true.
There's a lot of bright minds at IOHK, but still a lot of theory and not a lot of execution coming out of there, is what I think.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
a big fan of. I like Charles Hoskinson. I like Cardano, but yeah, I would like to see more progress. I know Rome wasn't built in a day, but if everything, we live in a disposable culture with instant gratification. So of course I think that's a big problem with crypto going to 20 grand and back, was just everybody thought it was, oh, we saw it go from 10 grand to 20 grand in 2 weeks. What do you mean it hasn't gone to 40 grand yet? I'm over this, just because they only got it.
Bro, I'm so glad 2017 is over.
Yep.
I was so sick of seeing people complaining about 5x, 10. I've seen people complain about 10x back in 2017. I'm like, what the hell is, like, it has to stop, and it did. Thank you. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I think the war of attrition is necessary in these financial markets, right? So I'm glad all the people looking to make a quick buck off these scam coins are I don't even think they're finally out. I think there's plenty of scams that are being released every single day.
Sure.
We just went over one, recently, Jason.
Yeah, there's a lot of bad projects that would love help getting advertised, but you got to say no to the shit coins. You got just say no to shit coins.
Just say no.
So on the topic, I think this actually goes back to what I was saying. So with the volatility and investing, actually this kind of ties into this guy's question over on Twitter as well. Is with the volatility, do you think that Bitcoin is a good hedge? And I'm just going to say Bitcoin, particularly in this instance, but we could feel free to utilize other cryptocurrencies in lieu of this if you have a good explanation. But do you think it's actually a good hedge against fiat, even despite the volatility, right? I mean, assuming that you've got the liquid capital, or should it be? I mean, like, is it that there's probably still a number of people that want to come into this market and want to buy Bitcoin and want to buy, but they're terrified because they saw all their friends lose their house and their car and their girlfriend and whatever else they managed to
girlfriend,
religion, from the beginning of 2018 through the middle of the year, and so they're all. I still have a lot of people that are like, should I invest? Should I get in? Or are they just waiting for the bottom? Is it a good idea to DCA in? What do you guys think on that?
Well, it's definitely a good hedge because it doesn't correlate with traditional markets, but that's where amateur investors get it mixed up. It doesn't correlate, but it doesn't have an inverse correlation. So the inverse correlation's the key. It's definitely healthy in a portfolio because of its lack of correlation. So, say you've got 1 and 100, and for Bitcoin to have an inverse correlation to any this is a traditional market, anything you can think of, has to be 100. Bitcoin has to be at 100 to have the inverse correlation. Only ever gets to not much more than 50% or 50 of 100. So, with that lack of correlation, it's definitely a good hedge. But without, and when time will tell, it might actually, don't have enough data or time to have that to see that correlation yet.
Well, so with that, I know I don't deal in the traditional financial markets directly as much. I've got some exposure with some investments, but generally just through a broker. I don't deal with it a lot direct. What kind of time frames and data are you guys looking at to make those kind of decisions? And
well, it says people try to tie it to geopolitical events, and we just haven't seen enough things happen in the world. So we've seen like hyperinflation in Venezuela and Zimbabwe and places like that, and but there still hasn't. Things like that will help with data with correlation, but we haven't seen it yet because there's no adoption over there. So until there's adoption, people are more likely to barter or have a hedge with goods that you need. So food and things like that are going to be the bartering system, not a crypto, not until there's more adoption. We're still early. We're really early, but it's all happening. You can see the transitions.
Well, that's
the only time.
Go ahead.
The only time I saw us getting close to 100 correlation was when inverse correlation was in the Cyprus event. Jason, not Jason, James. I don't know if you remember that with Bitcoin, but it actually went up 100% in a very short time. time frame when Cyprus had their whole ring fencing of banks, and they were not allowing people to take money out of their ATMs and stuff. So that's the only time in the years I've been in it that I've seen it anywhere close to 100.
Yeah, cool.
So
I
2000.
just want to jump in here real quick because we had one person say, so crazy that we're not getting that many viewers. So on that note, please give us a like and a share. Retweet us. Go tell your friends to come watch. If this is the kind of content that you think people should be watching, that's why we do these shows. Go tell them right now. Tell them to come on over and watch. Okay, carry on, guys. Sorry.
What I was saying is the happening. 2012. I've been in the space since like 2011, 2010. So 2012 was an amazing year for crypto, for Bitcoin especially. 2016 was an amazing year, and following up to 2017. I think 2020 is going to be an amazing year too. And I just have a little quote here. Okay. So these are the ruined investors, right? Year 2000, Amazon.com was $75 per stock, right? That's the high. The low in 2001 to 2002, which was a terrible year for all the dot-com internet bubbles, it was $5.51. Right now, Amazon.com is worth $1,864 per stock. So that's a solid 800% gain. So and if we're still in this era, we're still in this dial-up era. I think that this is incredibly positive for everybody. Right.
I agree. Do you think that percentage-wise, I mean, we don't know, we don't have a crystal ball, but as far as percentage-wise of the number of coins or tokens that will make it past 2020, 2021, what do you think? What are you thinking, Snake?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, how many Googles do you have out there?
Just
Yahoo,
one.
Yahoo got bought out by Amazon. MSN, I think the only people that use MSN or Bing are people who use Internet Explorer, so I don't even count them as human, right?
Right.
So,
yeah, but I guess more so because my whole thing is I think that, like you just said, how many Googles are there? There's only one. I think there's going to be like only one or two cryptocurrencies left in the game, and then we'll have a lot of tokens, from projects that are possibly, that make it on to the other side.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not a big fan of protocols anymore. I used to be a big fan in 2017. Neo, Ontology, Zilliqa, but now I'm a big fan of DApps. DApps is where the rest of the money is going to come from.
Yep.
It's the businesses that are actually building on the decentralized blockchains that are out there, right? And I don't think there needs to be more Cardanos and more EOSs and more Ethereums and more Neos and Ontologies and Zilliqas, Lisk, Stratus. I could just keep going on and on and on and on about these. Qtum, there's not even a functional product out there. The biggest functional product out there is Everpedia. That's on EOS. That's actually a pretty good project. I know those guys. Those guys are out in Los Angeles here with us.
Okay.
And CryptoKitties. CryptoKitties is the most used DApp out there. That I think that's absurd, right? It's super
That's what I have to say about that.
CryptoKitties is the most used DApp out there. So I think once more traditional businesses start to say, hey, let's run a DApp, let's run a decentralized application on some sort of mechanism in our ecosystem. Let's create a glorified gift card. That's completely fine. I'm completely happy with that, right? But I don't think that there needs to be any more Googles like EOS's, Cardanos, things like that. And I agree with you, man. I don't think there's going to be 1,800 cryptocurrencies like there are right now. I think there's going to be, a very select.
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, cryptocurrency.
So Snake, remember back in? So you've been in it longer than me, but remember back when like WorldCoin. Remember WorldCoin and
I remember WorldCoin
and all those old cryptos. So those died out too. When we hit that slump, like a lot of those coins died out. It was just like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, and Litecoin. Those are like the major ones, and then everything else kind of just.
That's true. By the wayside, man.
Yeah.
But
2020 is a long time ago. 2020 is a long way away. So by then, I see more than 90% of what we have now just not existing anymore. But we'll have more sophisticated ones built on that. It's a constant evolution. We'll see real use cases and the evolution of certain the ones we're seeing, and some will hold up and survive the test of time, and then we'll start seeing AI related products as well. We're very early.
Yeah, we don't even really talk. Well, I don't even talk about AI and blockchain kind of getting together and doing stuff. That's going to be crazy.
On top of speculation
way too
right
speculative.
Yeah,
it's way too speculative.
Yeah, you
until
put two very speculative technologies in the same basket and going,
right.
Let's bet on this for the future. Like,
I love using this analogy too. If you go into Best Buy right now, and or how about 5-6 years ago, you go into Best Buy, the new buzzword was 3D, right? Every hot TV was 3D. Now you go into Best Buy right now, no one gives a shit about 3D.
Nope.
Right? It hurts your head. No one watches it. Nobody supports it. No one cares about 3D. Now it's all about, that what is that, OLED TV, right? That Samsung and LG have. And it's always going to be something newer and hotter. And, for example, Oculus Rift got $4 billion valuation. They're not even alive right now. I mean, they barely have any support or functionality. Yeah, people are building it, but it's still going to take time. I don't think AR and VR, those are speculative too. If we're going to say AI is speculative, we know AR and VR, like augmented reality and virtual reality.
Your boy Gary V loves it. He thinks that's the future.
Yeah, I think it's the future too, no doubt. Yeah. I think 3D is the future too. I mean, I don't want to be looking at a flat screen my entire existence,
thing.
Yeah, in 2040, I don't even want to live on Earth anymore. I just want to be in a little cube and put on my glasses, and just do the Ready Player One thing, right? But that being said, AR and VR are still a long way out, right? The primitive technology right now we're paying. AR and VR is in Pong level, right? It's just terrible right now.
Yeah.
You can't do shit with it.
Makes it
yeah, same thing with AI. I mean, yeah, Watson is cool, but until Watson gets on my phone, I can't really do much with it. Right? Siri and Alexa still have a hard time understanding what I'm saying.
Yep, true. All right, so we got a bunch of feedback up in the chat here. Let's see. We need to find the killer app. We have no idea what we can even build with this thing yet. The killer app of the killer app might not have even been invented. That's fair. I think to Snae's point, actually, specifically, like, we have enough protocols at this point. We need to actually, if we keep building only out to one level and then we don't get the subsequent, forks from there, and by that I just mean, the protocol is there, now you can build the things that are on the protocol. If people don't build on the protocol, we're never making progress. We just keep putting more protocols in place that no one is going to build on, and that
honestly, if you keep building railroads and no one's using trains, what the hell's the point of the railroad, right?
Yes.
And that's where we are right now, it seems like.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. It's just a measuring contest right now. Like, hey, my railroad is awesome.
My railroad can let a train do 5,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
But there's no train.
Yeah. Invest in my railroad. I'll get you 10x returns. It's shit like that.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true.
And we're so limited to what we're thinking right now. Blockchain. I think is the future, but there's things like Hashgraph and there's things like that are like 2040, and we're living in 2018. You know what I mean?
I'm fascinated by Hashgraph.
I am too.
Yeah, every time I listen to Lehman Baird talk, he sounds like he's really smart without coming off like a prick about it, and that technology, the way it works, it's almost like the time stamp that it uses is the node, because they're that firm that their consensus mechanism is reaching, consensus all the way across. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
I don't find it applicable for industrial use cases, but it's right now it's very, very big in its infancy right now, and it has a lot of hype. But to me, as somebody who comes from traditional industry, to traditional pharmaceutical and power industry, you need to own your data and you need to kind of be able to track it. And just Hashgraph doesn't really quite have that mechanism yet. For example, a bank needs to own all of its records, right? And on Ethereum, you could get all your records. You could quickly download a CSV. But Hashgraph, it's like 5 million transactions a second or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just not feasible for small businesses to hold that much data with current capacity.
So, from what I'm understanding about Hashgraph, they're also Byzantine fault tolerant, right? Fully.
Yeah.
They
100%
say.
asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerant, which means that's like, because Byzantine fault
What does that
tolerance
mean,
just
Jason?
means
Yeah.
like Stellar is Byzantine fault tolerant, but it's also slightly centralized compared to, well, I don't know. Your opinion on Hashgraph, Sneh, is that that's still centralized, but
It's completely centralized. Yeah, you can't unless if you're running a full node. What does that mean? Hey, I want to mine. I need to run a full node. So what that means is you're constantly syncing with the blockchain, right? So for example, on Ethereum, you need to own all the transaction history on Ethereum in order to run a full node on Ethereum.
Right.
So that means you have a terabyte of data alongside mining it.
But that's how the Hashgraph functions is because of the asynchronous Byzantine fault tolerance. Those timestamps become the port of the blockchain. They've said that the whole network has gossiped about gossip, and it all has reached consensus that the timestamp that happened, this information was accurate, and so the whole network goes forward based on that.
Exactly, and what blockchain relies on is input-output, right? All you're recording is the input and output of cryptocurrency between addresses, right?
It's a stack, right? It's like a stack.
Yeah. So it's pretty binary, but Hashgraph, it's just so futuristic to me. It's like Terminator futuristic. Like, I can't even get my head around it. So
that's some crazy stuff.
I know, and so like, can we expect investors, like traditional Wall Street investors or even crypto investors, to say, hey, I'm going to invest in this because they're going to be using it in 10 years? I don't think it's going to take 10. I think it's going to take like 30 years in order for people to understand Hashgraph and actually trust it. People are still learning Solidity. You go to Silicon Valley, San Francisco area, and you're a Solidity developer, you're making $200,000 a year.
Yeah,
you don't even need to go to college.
Hey, are you a big Ethereum fan, or what are your thoughts about Ethereum? Because I'm like done with it.
Oh man, I love Ethereum. I think that nothing needs to exist but Ethereum.
Dang.
Bitcoin.
Wow. Help me understand. Help me understand. That are you saying not at current capacity, because you can't love it right now.
Even at current capacity, there's things like Raiden Network, which is they just launched their mainnet, which they have I think like 700-800 transactions per second, and GoChain. I'm a really big fan of GoChain. GoChain is 1,000 transactions per second, and they're completely live right now. You can build dApps on it right now, and they're on CoinMarketCap and everything. So there's sidechain protocols, and if you think about things like, for example, Cardano. Cardano is you program your smart contracts in Solidity. EOS, I believe you program your smart contracts in Solidity.
Or C.
Right? Yep. Or C. And Tron has this really cool. And I used to be a hater on Tron, especially with their whole marketing technique with Justin Sun. But I'm actually starting to really love Tron.
Bro, when he bought BitTorrent,
huge move.
The best, man. He's going to be able to vertically integrate that and just take over the game.
Man. It's so true. It's so true. And so what they've released, Tron has released, is a virtual machine that's forwards and backwards compatible with Ethereum.
TVM, right? I heard about that.
So and especially these days, man. These days, to run a dApp on EOS is expensive as hell. To run a dApp on for example, Neo is 500 gas. 500 gas. It's like $10,000 to run a simple smart contract. $10,000 to run a simple
Preventatively
smart.
expensive. Now, how is anybody how are businesses supposed to use that? Let alone how are
Well,
people
well, let me say this though, really quickly, because I don't think if you look at it from a business standpoint, is that really a lot? How much would you be paying for an AWS server over perpetually?
But you're already put at a disadvantage if your competitors are doing it for free and you're charging $10,000, right, for a marginally better product.
But see, I don't think the end user is going to be willing to pay to play. I just don't see it. That's my whole thing. I just think it's inverted, the whole business model of. Now help me out. Is Ethereum with it going to Casper and it going to proof of stake?
Yeah.
Are they getting rid of the gas fees, or how's that working?
No. So gas fees are pretty vital. You know, that's what helps
Secure the network.
I mean, EOS has gas fees too, man. You have to pay in EOS in order to use the network, right?
Yes, the token. Yeah, I mean,
Right,
you to stake to basically put a DApp on the blockchain, you have to stake tokens.
Right, you have to stake tokens, but even as an end user, you have to spend EOS, a little bit of EOS, in order for that to happen. Am I mistaken about that?
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe.
So you're telling me EOS has no transaction fee?
Yeah, it doesn't have a transaction fee.
Really?
Yeah, if it's I seem to recall actually reading something about that with EOS.
I don't know.
It is free to use. It's free for users. There's no network
Yeah.
fees for users, but I think there is
none.
network fees for you know.
Yeah, if I'm and that's how it should be. Like if I'm a company and I'm out for profit, you know, I'm profiteering and I'm looking to make some money, that should be part of my budget. Like we got to use X amount of dollars to actually roll out this DApp and stake it so that individuals can use it.
It's true, yeah. So right now there are no so this is what they do, okay? Right now, if you
gotta have an account though. That's the thing.
You have to have an account. You have to have an account. Now think about your credit card transaction, all right? So when you're paying for something with your credit card, you don't see that they're actually taking 2% and giving it to the credit card company.
You're talking about the inflation?
No, not inflation. Just
I'm saying, okay.
Visa charges 2% to merchants, right?
You never see that on the consumer side.
As a user, you're not seeing that. Hey,
correct.
I'm paying $1 for this candy bar. 2 cents of that is going to Visa, but the merchant is paying those 2 cents, right?
Yes.
So that's what EOS DApps do, is that they end up paying the transaction fee.
Yeah. Okay.
So they end up paying the transaction. So they're working at an enterprise level like Visa, while as something like Ethereum is, to me, I just think it's a lot more small business friendly. You know, if you're a big business and you're a Google or an Amazon, like you said, the AWSs, it makes sense for EOS. Because
that's the thing, Snake. That's why I'm saying, like, I hate these arguments that people have online, like it's my blockchain or nothing else. Like there will be multiple blockchains for multiple purposes. Like what you're saying, maybe Ethereum is
for the time being, though. You know what I mean? I think deep into the future, maybe not next year, maybe not in 5 years, but in 10, 15 years. A lot of these blockchains are going to go extinct, because they're not going to be supported. You need mining, you need miners, or you need staking support, right? And
right.
Staking in itself it's kind of bourgeoisie, I would say, right? The rich get richer. The more tokens you have, the richer you get. That's kind of why I hate Dash.
Yeah, you can literally buy say-so in the network. That's something I'm always concerned with. I mean, I guess it makes sense that the more money you have invested in it, that you would have, I guess, a little more interest in maintaining it. And hopefully that would mean that you would act in a manner that is beneficial to the network. But you could effectively, if you're rich enough, you could just become the main block producer and be like, and now I have enough blocks that I'm going to collude with my other block producer.
Right. But what about proof of stake is the same way. Like, look at what Bitmain has done, with Bitcoin.
Sure.
And,
Well, that's proof of work, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, proof of work, right?
Yeah. So
well,
proof
you run
of
the risk
work.
of it being centralized in mining. Like if one mining group, you're exactly right. If one mining
It
group
goes
holds
both
too much
ways.
of
Like,
the
I
hash
don't-
power, that is.
I don't know. At this point, I've kind of come to the realization that I don't know if we'll ever, unless something like Hashgraph comes around, I don't think we'll ever get something that's just purely decentralized and fair across the board. I don't know. I just can't see.
I think it's human nature not to, right? We're hungry capitalists, and the only way to evolve.
We'll collude in some way. Yeah.
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 But the thing I like about proof of work is you're putting energy, time, and hard work money in order to compete into the network, right? In order to get that.
There are a couple of layers, right.
Right, to get that block award. And, as much as I hate Bitmain and Antpool, they own like 40% of the mining stake in Bitcoin. Somebody
50.
somebody rich enough can come over. Somebody rich enough can come in and take over the network, right? While as proof of stake, unless you're selling those tokens, you have no chance, right?
Well, in EOS you do.
Well, but here's the thing with
Theoretically.
EOS is run by a foundation, right? While as Bitcoin is completely decentralized. I mean, you have to pretty much propose, for example, BIPs or Bitcoin Improvement Protocols, and then the whole mining network pretty much votes whether to pass that or not. While as EOS the foundation, they're like, hey, we're gonna introduce this protocol. It might screw some people over. Too bad. And they get to do whatever they want. And
I don't think so. I don't think maybe right now, but as it matures, no, I don't think they'll have that voting. They'll have that power to do that. I don't think they'll have that power.
That's what I'm saying. Just because you're first on the moon doesn't mean you own the moon, right? It's kind of imperialistic to that point where like, hey, just because you're first to EOS doesn't mean you should dictate what EOS does. Right, for example, I know people that own percents of top 100 coins. Like I know somebody that owns 6% of OMG. Wow. Right, just because they got in early, and if OMG really takes off, it shouldn't mean that they could dictate what actually happens in that network. Right, if it's supposed to be a democratic and ethical society that we live in, I don't think that proof of stake really does that, and that's why I kind of like delegated proof of stake, where EOS and ARC and BitShares does, where you kind of vote for representatives, things like that.
Right, every 2 minutes we can vote. That's why I say theoretically, we could kick out any BP, top 21 BP.
Right, exactly.
At any point, but again, it's so early. It's very concentrated. People aren't voting. People aren't even thinking about voting.
Exactly. Yeah,
and that's another unintended. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what do you think? So specifically on that subject of people aren't voting, if people have a stake in the system and they aren't voting, I mean, let's look at the United States. That's
because there's no economic incentive to vote at this point.
That's fair.
And they're thinking about changing that to where when you vote, there's an economic incentive. Because otherwise, human nature, I'm not going to vote if, I don't need to.
I think that by and large, and please don't crucify me for this, but I think by and large, people are generally kind of lazy, and
absolutely,
and will basically not take an action until they're sufficiently motivated. And whether that's by it hurts me not to take this action, or I'm missing the bus by not taking this action, or whatever. But I think so. That's not a bad idea to incentivize voting. I mean, it'd never work for the United States, but let's hope it works for EOS.
That's why we got Bitcoin in the first place. Financial crisis.
Yeah. Exactly.
It was they had it in the 90s, but they didn't implement it till the crisis when they saw a need. So,
so James, tell us a little bit about Australia and what the sentiment is there. Are you guys still fighting kangaroos? Are you guys Bitcoin pro, Bitcoin negative? What's going on?
Oh, we're just too busy with the kangaroos to think about Bitcoin, really. I'm constantly educating people. People they just don't understand, and there is we're quite niche, but it's like that all around the world, and we all stick together like a brotherhood over here. But I'm constantly educating people about what it is, and I tell people I'm in the blockchain services industry, and they say that Bitcoin stuff.
Yeah.
I said, well, don't worry about cryptocurrencies, just worry about the technology, and Oh, we're still early. So I'm in South Australia, and our government is friendly to blockchain, and we're setting up. There's an old hospital here that is going to get allocated to tech companies and startups, and they want to have quite a vibrant blockchain community situated there. So and we have a big event coming up in March. So the our local government here is quite blockchain friendly. They just see the potential. So it's all happening. The government's looking closely, and there's new regulations coming out, and things are evolving. And we're friendly generally. It's not like the SEC in America where they want to control everything, and we're more of letting things flourish and kind of work themselves out over here so far. So good sentiment generally. A lot of people just aren't aware of it, or they were burnt on 20K when there was a lot of media coverage, and they got in, and they've been burnt since then, and they're not ready to get back in, and that's kind of tainted everything. But once people understand it's about the technology more so than the crypto, I think we'll be all right.
I mean, me and Jason had a dinner with these Korean investors, and they were saying, especially the entire Pacific, Ocean over there, they're real bullish, and people are starting to get educated and aware about blockchain and crypto, and so I'm glad we have a representative out there. And we're all kind of decentralized, right? So we got Detroit, LA, and Australia here, and there's varying moods, right? But yeah, so in LA, it's getting bigger and bigger. Obviously not as big as San Francisco, but I think LA is one of the front runners for all the EOS guys are here too, here in Puerto Rico.
Dude, it's hilarious when I go to San Francisco. When I go back to San Francisco to visit, and people are like, "What are you doing for work these days?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, still working in the blockchain space." And they're like, "Oh my God, so cool, right? Like, tell me about it." And they want to hear about it, and they actually like have some background knowledge and stuff. And I talk to my friends in LA, and they're like, "What are you doing these days?" I'm like, "I work in the blockchain space," and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, no." Like, that big, and they're like, "Oh, you still are doing that Bitcoin shit?" Like they're fully like it's funny to me the amount of difference in perception, just even amongst my peers between NorCal and SoCal. It's crazy.
Well, San Francisco is all tech, right? Well, as Los Angeles, it's entertainment, porn, and some tech. That's pretty much what it is, right? And lots of weed, right? And so that's what it is. How about in Detroit, Crypto Blood?
It's very small. It's very small. Handful of us, man. I know pretty much everyone that is in this whole blockchain crypto stuff here. So we have meetups and stuff, but it's not as big. Yeah, it's not as big as I would say like a NorCal or anything like that. No.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we're so early into the space, and I remember, for example, my cousin worked for NetTel for a little bit. He was telling me that there were meetups. People would have meetups in bars using posters because there was no such thing as Craigslist, for internet meetups, and
right.
TCHP protocol meetups. Yeah. Right. So I feel like we're in that era a little bit. So.
Well, I'll tell you why this is a very unique situation we're in with cryptocurrencies. It's because it's tech, but it's almost like money too. And so the problem is most people don't know what money is, how it functions, none of that. I'm sure many people still think the U.S. dollar is backed by gold. It's some fraction.
I wanted to get into this specifically.
Yeah,
I think people just don't understand what fractional reserve banking even is.
They don't. So there's no pain point for it. The pain point is missing. There's no pain point for a person to say, I'm going to use Bitcoin instead of my debit card from Chase.
Yep.
So until that changes,
well, it's just that they're not aware of it, right? Like by and large, it's still a $20 bill today is a $20 bill next week and next month, and probably next year. But then it's not going to buy me the same amount of stuff in 5 years as it does. Right.
And remember, we were on that panel, Jason, at the Litecoin Summit, and Crypto Love brought up a good point about adoption. Adoption is probably going to come from the bottom up. And so where you have pain points in Venezuela, where you have in Argentina, where you have Dash and Digibyte and the other, I forgot the other coin that's out there pretty popular. But that's where you're going to see adoption first, like mass adoption, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, look at NEM. I mean, NEM isn't a very popular cryptocurrency amongst any YouTuber, it feels like. But the Petro is built on NEM.
Oh, I didn't know that.
it was on Dash. I thought it was a Dash clone.
Nah, Dash doesn't have smart contracts or dApps of that sort. It's built on NEM, right?
I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah. So and these small little cryptocurrencies, like for example, Dogecoin. Dogecoin is immensely used in small parts of Africa, like in small villages in Africa.
Mega strong
Like,
community too. Great job choosing a meme as your logo, and people just love it because of the logo.
Oh yeah, man,
And it works.
It's crazy, and especially in India and Africa, it's kind of crazy, man. It's like they sell their credit card minutes. You guys ever heard of that? They sell their credit. Yeah, they buy and sell credit card minutes, and they almost have like a barter exchange for it. Yeah,
for mobile phones.
For mobile phones.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
there's that one crypto project that's who was it? One of the dudes at the Litecoin summit kept talking about it, where you can like top up your mobile minutes remotely with crypto. Anyways, whatever.
I mean, it's right now. What I think is, we're still in its infancy. Exchanges still hold a ton of power. Miners still hold a ton of power.
Yep.
In order for your dApp to succeed, you kind of need liquidity and validity from the exchanges, and then you need liquidity and validity to a lot of media outlets. I'm running an ICO right now. It's pay to play right now.
Yeah.
Just because you have a good idea, just because you hold a patent, just because you have X amount of employees or any sort of technological advantage, it still doesn't matter, right? Right now, it's such a small space that good projects can't be covered. Some bad projects are overly covered.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's because there was so much horse shit in the space last year that got coverage and got pushed to the fore that, it's harder to break through signal to noise at this point. I mean, we got, is it still over 2,000? It was, last time I looked at total coins on the market, it was like 2,007 some odd total available currencies in the crypto market.
But that being said, I love what all of these exchanges are doing. Like we just saw Binance.
Donation.
There's no more listing fees, right?
Yeah.
There's a listing fee, but they donate all of it to charity.
Yeah.
Right. We have Kraken fighting the.
It's a twofold effect of gaining good public good. It's a good. It's cool because it's a charity move, and then also because it's a charity move, it's a good PR move.
Right, and we have Kraken fighting the good fight against all these regulatory impacts and things like that, and obviously supporting like things like Cardano and Qtum. One of those coins that could potentially be the future. We have Coinbase hiring over 500 people in the New York area. In 1 quarter. So like all these exchanges are taking progressive moves. I just listed those 3 because those 3 are pretty much the only ones I really follow is Binance, Kraken, and Coinbase. But there's, for example, like Poloniex and Circle with Goldman Sachs and Bittrex. I've actually never seen Bittrex at a conference ever, so I'm not too aware about them either. But the space is going into a positive direction, and us as influencers, you as viewers, you as users, the only thing we could do is move it into a positive direction, right? So, that's all I have to say about it.
Good point.
Yeah, we're going to see the rise of the STOs and equity coming up, and
I think so.
We've got to wait for the SEC and see what they're going to do. But that gives way to people with jurisdictional freedom like Gibraltar, and there's some exchanges coming out that they're going to be trading in STOs and have that first mover advantage. But a lot of people are just waiting to see what the SEC are going to do.
It's still amazing to me. In most financial platforms, you can't even buy fractionalized stocks. I think that's absurd.
Share builders used to be, remember?
Yeah.
That was like the first.
What about Robinhood? Is it not? You can't do.
Nah, you have to buy full stocks. You can't buy half. You can't buy half an Amazon stock.
It's almost just like they just don't want anybody with a smaller amount of money than $250,000 to have.
No, so here's the problem where blockchain solves, not really crypto, is a governance mechanism. Each share pretty much holds value in equity and voting power, right? Where you're able to, for example, you could vote out Elon Musk if you own 51%, right? So of a company, of a C corp, not an S corp, but obviously I'm not going to go into corporation structures, right? But blockchain solves all that because it's completely immutable, irrevocable, and I think
you won't have rehypothecation of those stocks either, those equities.
Yeah,
it's a lot of there are more than the number of shares of a company out there, now in the equity game. So that will solve that as well.
100% agree with you, man. And things like what is it, Templum, T0. James, help me out. What other STO exchanges are thinking about launching?
Oh, GBX seems like the big one at the moment.
GBX, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they're going pretty hard. Just saw them at Consensus in Singapore. And then on that front, that was just an amazing event. The blockchain's very much alive and well and evolving.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
It's easy to get susceptible to the FUD in the States because it's like everybody's focused on the fiat value and is it going to get regulated and what if we can't do it? But it's there's the whole. It's like I think Americans forget that there's the whole rest of the world where people are still trying to do things too. So it's a little easy to get caught up in the FUD when our entire media sphere is telling us one story. But then it's nice to be able to interact with people actually interact with people on a personal level outside of that and find out what's really going on.
I think change is hard for anybody, right? Like back in the day, back at my grandparents' age, like people those age, like they didn't trust banks, right? So they kept money under the mattress. My parents
lived through the Great Depression.
Exactly.
I can't believe people trust banks having lived through the Great Recession. That was part of what I was like, yes, Bitcoin, awesome.
But to that point, you trust your phone. You trust your phone to not be hacked, right?
True.
And yet there's hacks all the time. There's SIM card hacks all the time. One of the most popular crypto influencers out there, media companies out there, Michael Turpin from Transform PR, he got hacked for $24 million from a SIM card hack from AT&T. He's suing AT&T. But all these things happen, yet you still have to. Society is so pegged to a lot of the banking infrastructure and technology and the internet, right? Without the internet, I feel like a lot of modern businesses just wouldn't survive.
No,
they rely on a lot. I would say like 95% of all these modern businesses, that aren't mom and pop shops. Yep. Like I still prefer to call in my pizza order, but I'm not in that technological realm yet. But have you seen
the commercial where the son is in there? He's got his VR on. He's controlling Alexa. He's having the pizza fly in. Everything's all automated and controlled. That's where we are, man. It's crazy. Yeah. But I just wanted to kind of say, Jason, you're saying that you were surprised that people from 2008 haven't given up banks. Well, it wasn't a pain point.
Be more aware of what a sham that the system is. That it's like fractional reserve banking,
man.
The fact that you don't. That if everybody came down, if everybody who has a bank account at the local branch of whatever bank I bank with, if we all go down there and go, I want all the money in my account, there is no way that bank will possibly be able to produce enough bills, period, to be able to pay you out that cash. Let alone,
correct.
And their entire system is based on that. They're loaning out money they don't have.
So I want to tell a funny story about Bitfinex. So Bitfinex does the same thing. So a lot of these, I speak to a lot of these ICO heads. So they raise a ton of money, millions and millions of dollars. They put it in Bitfinex, obviously hoping to get some amount of interest in it. But what they're doing is they're taking your crypto, loaning it out for fiat, and then leveraging that interest. So you're not. It's just like what they're just doing exactly what a bank does. Right, so
but probably at lower leverage though, because I think banks are probably a lot higher.
Yeah, for every dollar you put in, they take out 7 or something. They loan out 7 or something.
Yeah, I think it's like 9.
Wow. Oh.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
scary.
But Jason, I think it's because again the pain point wasn't there. Like people didn't have to go through what Cyprus did
Yeah.
in 2014, where they go to the ATM and they're like, oh, only could take out 300 euro a week or a day or something like that. We didn't get there. You know, we were kind of bailed out with that $1 trillion bailout package there
too big to
over the
fail.
weekend. Right. So I think that's why we didn't get that. If we would have gotten that, definitely people would be like all in. We would have adoption probably in the United States near 30%. I would say 30-40%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's and again, and on that part, you know, that's what scares the hell out of me about things like Abra. You know, in Abra, you can't. It's one of the most They have over 1 million users now, which is a ton of users. You can't withdraw any cryptocurrencies.
Still, I didn't know that. Wow.
You could buy and sell on Abra, but you cannot withdraw the actual asset into a private wallet.
Is
You actually
Robinhood
don't
like
own
that
it.
as well?
But
What?
Is Robinhood like that as well?
Robinhood's not like that. I think you could
Okay.
withdraw that. Just like Coinbase, you know, Coinbase, they have a hot wallet. They keep it all in their database, but you're able to withdraw out to your own private wallet, right?
Sure.
That's what I was gonna say. What good is a wallet I can't take my money out of?
Yeah.
But
Sounds like
that's the
sounds like a
thing,
bank.
Jason. That's why we have to educate these newcomers, because they're rooting for the Ripples, they're rooting for the Abras of the world, where it's just the same thing in a new way. It's packaged up in a new way.
Right.
Wait, you don't like Ripple? You don't like
no.
Ripple?
No.
Really?
You,
Man,
you didn't
I
check
actually-
out. You didn't
I
check
changed
out my
my
Twitter
mind.
handle.
Yeah. It's,
No XRP.
Yeah.
I actually changed my view a little bit on Ripple. I mean, it's four banks by banks. So
It's
if
like
you're
an-
looking at it, four banks by banks, Ripple, not XRP, but Ripple, the actual protocol, and XRapid, it's a hell of a lot. It's a hell of a lot better than Western Union. I remember when my family was trying to send money to India. Holy shit! Like, man, what a ripoff.
I have some.
Well, why not just use Bitcoin or Nano or
because they're not going to have it. The infrastructure is not set up for. They're going to XRP or Ripple is going to have it where they go into the bank and do it.
Yeah, that's
right.
fair.
yeah, that's fair.
So
It's an interbank ledger, and people like these authoritative governments, like India, Pakistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, all these most parts of Africa, they don't have a solid exchange network like we do, like where we have Coinbase and Kraken and Binance, right? So even if you receive the Bitcoin, you can't do shit with it. They just shut
I'm
down
not
the
saying-
largest exchange in India.
listen, I'm not saying that it won't be successful.
Yeah.
Two different things. They will be successful.
Yeah.
But I'm not with it, bro. I'm not
That's
with
true.
it.
That's true. I mean,
No,
they own like 70% of their coins, right? So they're a bank, man. Ripple's a bank, but
Ripple's good for blockchain. I don't
it
see
is
much.
good for blockchain. I agree.
Just I'm not talking about XRP. I'm just talking about Ripple.
The currency is not good for the decentralized network, right? But the technology
protocol,
and what blockchain is doing is introducing blockchain to all these traditional financiers, right?
I'll give them
So-
that. If it does, at least let them go. Okay. I mean, because again, ultimately, I want the world where we all keep all of our money in our personal bank. That is, this little bank right here, and this is how we get along in life. But until then, let's all be realistic. The world's not going to just everybody sell their fiat for Bitcoin tomorrow, and that's
They're
how we
not.
operate. So there's got to be a bridge, and whether I like it or not, I can see that Ripple would probably at least open up some of the people, the Warren Buffetts of the world, right? It might open up their eyes a little bit to even go, maybe it's not rat poison, maybe there is something here. So maybe it has value in that, but I'm with you, Blood. I trade in and out of it when I see an opportunity, but I don't hold it.
Yeah. I was going to start with forced adoption, like Crypto Blood was saying initially, and then it will evolve from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
All right. Well, it has been a little bit over an hour here, right? Right, Jason?
Yes, yeah, we're at about an hour and 10, so I don't want to tie up everybody's evening here. Any other quick topics? I still had a bunch more topics to go over we didn't even get to, but this was a fun conversation.
Good conversations.
The great
Absolutely.
news is we can do it again in the future. That's the fun part about it. So
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
Crypto Blood, you're welcome to be back on this stream anytime you want, man. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Hey, no problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
we got people in the chat saying do another hour, but I know we all have lives to get to here. So, but thanks for making time to come on and chat with us, man. This was great. I really enjoyed it. This kind of conversation. I think is what more people need to be exposed to, because I think a lot of people still just are like, what is this stuff? I bought some of this money that hopefully it'll be worth more money, but I think hearing these kind of conversations is actually important.
We need more cerebral conversations, not this moon. When is it going to double?
Yes.
When is, you know, I'm so sick of it. So I'm glad you guys are on that page.
I agree, and you know, I don't know everything, right? And I don't think anybody knows everything. But it's amazing. It's amazing to get new viewpoints, right?
Yes.
It's amazing to see like what's going on in other parts of the world, how people are reacting in your area to the crypto space and what you think. And you know, like for example, like you said, you're reaching out to all these EOS people and all these BPs. You know, I had no idea. You know, until today, I didn't even know. I didn't even know I didn't even know EOS didn't have a transaction history. A transaction fee. You know, so we're always constantly learning, and you know, thanks for everybody joining us along for the ride.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, we'll definitely get you back on, because I know one of the things, I know you program some bots. I've been using it.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
I want to talk about that.
That's
I know
a big
a bunch
one.
of people in our community are like,
James, you program as well?
No, but I'm a trader, and I did want to talk about that. And
let's talk about it really quickly.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I'm game for it.
We're not leaving.
I just didn't want to wrap you up past the hour, man. But,
I also wanted to talk about Bitcoin synthetic collateralized debt obligations.
Yeah, CDSs.
Bitcoin synthetic CDOs. That might be the future. It won't be in that.
Dumb this down for me. Dumb this down for me. What are we talking about here?
It gets complicated. So, well, that's what happened with the mortgage crisis and the financial crisis. So we had all right. So let's just say we had Bitcoin, and it was mainstream and it was institutionalized, and then people were borrowing money to buy Bitcoin. The banks that loaned the money don't want the risk because it's risky, and they did it with mortgages. So they make this collateralized debt obligation as a security, and they sell that off to people that want to take the risk and take that debt. And then that's based on there'll be tranches and there'll be ratings within that CDO based on the default possibilities of who took the loan. So that gets packaged into a security. But then there's synthetic CDOs. So then people, it's like an insurance policy on whether the CDO is going to default or not. So in essence, you can actually go long or short on whether the
it sounds like leverage trade.
Yeah. So you can secretly that's what they were doing in mortgages. You can short the mortgage. Mortgages off exchange, so it's like over-the-counter style shorting, which it's very hard to track. No one knew how many there were, and you can make an infinite number of synthetic CDOs based on CDOs. So there's just so much money to be made. So there won't be exactly like that in Bitcoin in the future, but there'll be something similar. It's greed. Synthetic CDO is greed in one
word. The tranches are going to be made up of, like, the lower tranches are going to be shit coins, and this is going to go over that.
So let me ask you guys this: a majority of trading has actually happened over OTC, right? Not through traditional exchanges.
Yeah,
right. So how do you as a bot trader or an analyst, how do you pretty much predict what's actually going to happen with all this crypto flying around for premium prices and sometimes discounted prices on the OTC? Over the counter market. So how do you factor that into your analysis?
Well, for me, for me, because I deal in OTC as well, so I know how many buy orders versus sell orders are out there. Generally, I'm approached almost daily about deals. A lot of them are fake. It's pretty easy to tell. And if they don't want to follow our procedures, well, I don't waste my time with them. But it gives me a good judge of sentiment of how many buys versus sells there are on OTC, and we keep a record of that as well. And that's how I equate for it.
Yeah, so me, I'm no OTC, strictly price action, and my algos that I build take no fundamental analysis into consideration. So it's just strictly playing the odds. Yeah, just keeping the losses tight and letting the gains run.
What do you program your game? What do you program it in? Like, how do you even? I mean, the bot that I have is programmable, but I'm not coding it. So what did you C++?
Right. No, so I had to learn PineScript in TradingView. So initially my algos were built in the MT4, which is from the Forex side of things. That's where I initially built some of my algorithms over there. So I just kind of learned PineScript and converted them all over to Bitcoin cryptos.
Nice.
How do you do your back testing?
All in TradingView. They have a nice, robust back testing system, and then I'll let it forward test a couple of weeks, but they give you pretty accurate, better than MT4, way better, man. Oh my god. So the data is cleaner. It's what do you want to call it, the frequency of the data is much better, so you're getting better in and out trades on your back testing. So it's fairly good.
Nice.
Okay, so you don't have like say storage of Binance 1 second data and backtest through the script, or
No, not on TradingView. You can't really. So the lowest I can go is tick by tick. No, they don't go that far back. But again, my algos I develop are all swing trading, so I don't really need to get that granular.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's when you start getting onto the day trading or HFT style. That's when you have to have that detail. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to have that tick by tick.
Yeah, well, that's fine for swing, and I'm a swing trader as well, and I'm fine for that. It makes it it's just more efficient at the moment, I think.
What, to swing trade?
Yeah.
And
to have strategy and swing trading strategies, because it's such a manipulated market. It's really hard to day trade. You really have to read the volume and the order books quite well to understand what's happening.
And it's been manipulated. That's the thing. Like, people say they're screaming manipulation. I don't consider manipulation. It's more so just market forces. Like, people with big money are going to make moves that benefit them, right? Is that manipulate? I guess it's manipulation, but I don't look at it as this conspiratorial, the government's trying to do this.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, if you're playing in the futures markets in the United States, you could play in the futures market, and then you could dump Bitcoin. I mean, you could dump, you could be in the gold future markets, and then you could dump gold onto the market, and then it's going to plummet the price down. And if you're saying, hey, I believe that this is going to, I believe that, gold is going to go down, everything is pretty clear, right? Because you need the whole AML KYC process.
Talking about
you need the whole AML KYC process, and then you have things like DEXs, where you could have a shit ton of Bitcoin off the radar. You could dump it. You could dump it onto the free market on DEXs or through BitMEX through random not random but VPNs. You could start dumping that Bitcoin. And then you could say, hey, I think Bitcoin's going to go down. And so then you're making money on both sides. And then you could come back and buy back Bitcoin even lower because Bitcoin has dropped so much further. So not only have you made a bunch of money just not doing much just because you're a rich guy playing the futures markets and dumping Bitcoin at the same time,
are you, because you kind of conflated, because you were talking about gold futures, and then we got into Bitcoin. So are you saying that happens in Bitcoin?
So gold you cannot because everything it's a regulated market, right?
No. No, gold is heavily manipulated.
Well, gold is manipulated. I mean, but look at gold right now. It's under 1,200. Which, how ridiculous is that?
Yeah, I think that.
Who thought
see,
it,
that's
who,
what.
who thought it was going to go under 1,200? In 2018. I think that's ridiculous.
Oh,
but
well, yeah. I mean, you've got people that think it should be at $22,000, $3,000, $4,000 an ounce. But I think it's easier for institutional entities to manipulate COMEX because there's one central location for these commodities to trade. Where with Bitcoin and cryptos, it's still segmented. It's fraction. It's kind of scattered all over.
On Binance, and there's high volume on BitMEX, and there's high.
Right,
Yeah,
and so so it's kind of hard to manipulate one exchange without arbitrage coming in and fixing it and evening it out. I think yes, like I said, there is manipulation if you want to call it that, but it's more so to me the big guys with money just going around and taking advantage of the situation. I mean, James, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, let's start at December. Then when we had our CME and CBO futures come out. So the market, it was almost 100% certain that the market was pushed up artificially because of these big futures coming out, whereas these players were probably stacking up on Bitcoin as well. When we hit 20K and they shorted the market, there was, it was, you could see that they would have been dumping this physical or this Bitcoin they were buying along the way to increase their shorts and manipulate the market in that sense.
But I didn't see the volume. Like I went over there to the CBOT is where it's traded, right? CME, I think.
Yeah, and CBOE, yeah.
CBOE. Yeah, I went and looked at the volume, and it just doesn't match, man. The number of contracts for the volume that it was trading, and it just doesn't match. And then I'm like, well, the contracts don't even settle in cash. I mean, in Bitcoin, you can't settle. It's cash only. So I know that what's his name, Richard Hart, tried to explain how it could be manipulated on the short side, just some convoluted way he explained it. But I don't know, man. With it being cash only settlement, I don't see a true correlation with the manipulation in the futures market, on top of the volume being very low.
Yeah, Amol actually did a good report on that, and it came to the conclusion that so when you're on the way down, so we're coming down off 20, just to increase the shorts, the profits with your shorts, you can dump physical Bitcoin
right,
to
spot Bitcoin,
to push the market down to increase the short profits, and that's and there was some correlation with the numbers. We were going through the numbers, and it did look like that. And when I say manipulation as well, I also exactly what you're saying. It's just because it's such a low market cap, the market can be manipulated, but not illegally manipulated. There are some instances where it'll be illegal in traditional markets.
Sure. But like you said, exactly, it's such a small market. If I'm a whale, of course I'm going to move and manipulate the market just in the actions that I take.
And that's fair enough. You just have to be aware of it. You have to be aware of those strategies and what they do, and that's why a lot of traders don't set stop losses because generally as a trader, I know where your stop loss is, but on an unregulated market, there's some people that can physically actually see where your stop loss is.
Right.
So that's a scary thing.
Yeah, I agree. I will say this, though. I think that BitMEX thing was a little fishy, where they went down for maintenance.
Oh, right.
And then, it cleared out all those shorts.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad because it was a gap up. So it didn't, people that had margin calls at a certain price and they were short, when the markets opened back up, it was well above their margin call, and they lost more than they had.
And they got liquidated.
I mean, there's been a lot of sketchy shit. Like look at what happened with Coinbase. With that whole Bitcoin Cash. Yeah, with that whole Bitcoin Cash. I want to call it a scandal. I'll go as far as calling it a scandal. And on top of that, Coinbase also, remember, they've had like 3 flash crashes where people have been They set their stop loss so low, like like if Bitcoin ever goes under $1,000, I'll sell. And they sell and they have a flash crash, and then it immediately goes back to $5,000-$6,000.
That happened in February, right? Last year, or no, not February. It was like March or April. Someone got orders filled for like $4 or something crazy.
Yeah, I mean. And Coinbase continuously, they're obviously upgrading their technology and stuff, but they're on the right path. But this has happened time and time again, and it hasn't happened in recent history. But I think that's just because everyone's kind of putting their foot down and saying, hey, if you're not going to be a good player, then it's not going to work out. But look at Poloniex. Poloniex is basically dead right now compared to what it was in 2017.
Do any of you guys trade on Poloniex? I looked at it and
I stayed away
I'm
from
never
it.
trading on here. This exchange is hideous. Like I haven't looked back at it since I got into crypto. It was just.
Do you remember the Poloniex troll box? Man, I missed that thing. That was so cool. Where people would just be chatting in there.
Well, the first troll box I remember was BTCE back in the day. That was
I remember that.
That was the one.
Yeah.
But Poloniex, or however you pronounce it, stayed away from it. It seemed like a Mount Gox all over again, bro. Like people weren't able to remember Cripsy.
Yeah.
Big Vern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it reminded me of that. Like people couldn't withdraw their funds and stuff. I got away from Cripsy because I just saw it coming.
Yeah.
So I just stayed away.
You got away from Cripsy because you're crypto blood. Come on, dude.
But then we have things like KuCoin, which they have like a vacant office, somewhere in Canada or something, right? And then we have things like Cryptopia, which is like the shitcoin extreme exchange. Where like if you're any coin that has no value, you're listed on Cryptopia, right? And still those things are still functional, and for example, Binance had an API hack, right? Of course it kind of reset everyone's APIs, but it didn't really degrade the system whatsoever. No, I don't think anybody lost tremendous amounts of money.
No one lost any money. They froze the funds. They couldn't get the funds off.
Yeah, you couldn't withdraw.
Yeah.
You couldn't withdraw. But still, to that point, that they could do that, where hey, we're not going to let you withdraw, scares the shit out of me. It really does.
Yeah.
I think if you keep majority of your money that you're not trading on an exchange, I think it's dumb. I think it's just straight dumb.
I
It's
agree.
asking for trouble
Yeah.
for sure.
It is. If you have an old iPhone, download a simple wallet, put it on that wallet, disconnect it from the internet, put it somewhere safe.
Right.
That's it. That's all you got to
Make
do.
a nice copy of your private keys and give it to the one person that you trust, like a sibling or somebody else that doesn't live with you that you actually trust. Because
That's
then
true.
if your house burns down with your wallet in it, you can still get your seed phrase and recover your wallet. Because otherwise, your seed phrase is still in your house too. So always a
I still think that's ridiculous. Like they have custody solutions that are coming out more and more. We're actually looking to start a custody solution as well with a tier 3 data center and everything like that. Armed guards, the whole thing. But it is still crazy to me that right now what you're relying on is your handwriting, writing it down on pen and paper. I mean, I'm sure no one does that and everyone takes screenshots. But it's still pretty absurd to me that that's where we are at. That's how dial-up we're at right now.
It comes
We're
to
writing down our
insurance.
private keys.
But hey, go ahead. I'm sorry, James.
I was just going to say custody needs underwriting. It needs insurance. A real custody is insured. That's what people are waiting for. The institution.
I mean, did you see Gemini? Gemini just launched they just started their whole insurance program.
Yep, I
Yes,
saw that.
on your crypto.
But-
That's a nice difference. I think this is a common misconception with Coinbase is everybody's like, oh, Coinbase is FDIC insured, which is great. They are, right, for as much fiat as you have in your fiat wallet. But they're not FDIC insured for your Bitcoin or your Ethereum or your Litecoin or whatever other asset. They are not FDIC insured for that. So if Coinbase were to get hacked and your crypto assets go away, you're out of luck. You're covered for your fiat, but not your crypto.
Yeah.
But with Gemini, with this Gemini insurance, they're actually it's like an FDIC for all of your crypto assets. That's pretty cool.
And it doesn't cover negligence. Everybody needs to remember that it does not cover negligence. So if you leave your phone on at a bar and someone takes crypto out of your phone, of your exchange wallet, it does not cover negligence whatsoever. So this insurance isn't like car insurance, where if you get into an accident, you get your money back. It's only if their systems get corrupt, if they get hacked.
So we have a solution now with custody and insurance, but the insurer, you have to go through this custody process that the insurance company believes is valid, and then they'll insure it. So it has to be a certain custodial process which they deem insurable.
Hey, Snee, I was gonna make a comment about like recovering your private keys and stuff. Look into how EOS in the protocol. I hate to sound like I'm shilling EOS, but it's already built in the protocol to have biometric capabilities. So fingerprints and eye scans and stuff are ready to be used, and there are some companies actually leveraging that in the protocol now.
Actually, that's something that I'm looking into right now, and we're actually building out is biometric identification.
Just going over to EOS, man. It's already ready. You don't have to build it. Just build your layer on top of it. You're good.
But
I'm gonna convert, Jason. I'm gonna convert Snee at the end of this video.
But I want my tokens to actually work. I want my protocol to actually work. I don't want it to just be.
Yeah.
vaporware.
What about that wallet?
I'm just messing with you, man.
What have you heard about that wallet, Blood? The EOS, the Hodge twins got screwed on that. You know them? Do you know the crypto twins, the Hodge twins? They're like, yeah, man, Bitcoin. Those dudes, they're hilarious. But they just got that new EOSIO wallet, and they got like 200K in EOS jacked because it was a bad wallet.
I don't even know who they are.
Honestly, we went through this process as well. If you could get on the Google Play Store, that's great. Whatever. They don't do any auditing. But the Apple Store, like if your wallet's on the Apple Store, they actually do a fair amount of testing and due diligence on their part. Because it's a financial application, they want to protect their consumers. So, if you don't see something in the Apple Store, but it's in the Google Play Store, just, and I'm not saying trust anything on the Apple Store, just, do a double check.
There is another level. Yeah, there's another layer of security with Apple. I agree.
Well,
for sure.
It's that due diligence thing that we harp on.
No, it's that closed system. That centralized system, is a little bit more secure. That's the sad part.
That's what I'm saying. Like at the end of the day, I'm trying to tell you guys, like I'm coming to the realization that decentralization, like fully decentralized, may not ever be a good solution for mass adoption.
Well, there's a lot of potential problems.
Like there needs to be
They don't understand that decentralization, like true decentralization, means the Nazis get a choice too, right? Like all the people, and I hope that none of our audience are Nazis, but at least if I don't think that I would rather they not have a voice personally, but
I would rather they do, but it's like where's the scale? Like how far do we go? Because if we're truly decentralized and there's some critical bug that pops up, then we're all screwed. There's no malleability. Go ahead.
Anything centralized generally has a life cycle, whereas decentralized, in theory, can last forever. It's just decentralized in nature. So,
but is it a binary thing, or will we have some compromise there on a scale? Like I think many people think of it as a binary, like decentralized or centralized. It's only those two.
Hopefully you guys can see my screen now.
Yep.
All right. So this is ARK. Everybody knows what ARK is, right? The cryptocurrency. They're trying to make better building blocks for easy plug and play solution for smart contracts, things like that. The number one delegate right now on ARK is 4chan. Take that in. The number one delegate right now on ARK is 4chan. Now we know 4chan is notorious for.
I'm not going to say anything
bad
about
4chan.
4chan is great. 4chan does all the best.
I love 4chan. Don't have
the best work.
Right? Yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm saying. 4chan now has a voice, a permanent voice. Look at it. It has significant double the voters of even number two. Right, of all of them, right, and of course, we don't want Nazis to have a voice, but here they have a voice, and I'm not saying 4chan's full of Nazis, but a high percentage of them are Nazis.
Hey,
but I
Sam,
just thought that was a little funny, just this is what happens. This is the grand scheme of things. But here, I'll go back to not sharing my screen.
4chan's become a valuable tool.
Yeah, it is. It's a freedom tool. It is. It's a decentralized freedom tool that happens to also attract Nazis.
Back to your bot. What indicators do you like for your swing trading and spotting your tops and bottoms?
Yeah, I don't disclose those types of details, my friend, big fella. I don't disclose that, big fella. Yeah, I don't. For manual trading, I will say I don't use any indicators. If I'm just like in my videos or anything, it's all support resistance. I'll do some fib retracements and extensions and trend lines. That's it, man. I've learned just over the years, I've tried everything, and really, if you just use that and let the market come to you, wait for the market,
part, isn't it?
That is the hard part.
Come to you is the hard part that most people have trouble with, I think.
Right. Not saying that there are indicators for sure that work, but I've just made it way more simplified for my life, and it works. It works for me.
I mean, if you guys ever been on crypto Twitter, like anything on Twitter about cryptocurrency, everyone's like the next Nostradamus, just predicting
they are.
the future. And
listen to them. I know when the bottom is. I know when.
Yeah. And what you find out over years of trading, it really has nothing to do with your trading system. Well, you have to stick to your system, right? But the most important thing in trading is money management.
Yep.
Nothing else. It's money management, risk management. That's it.
Well, you can't force a trade. You have to let the trade come to you. And I see a lot of people are just tons of indicators. Sometimes you've just got to remove all the indicators and get back to the raw price data. Yeah. The candlesticks tell a lot by themselves.
Candlesticks tell a lot. I don't do candlestick trading, but that is another. I agree with that method as well.
Dude, I can't.
Man.
I can't even trade on a price line. Like I seriously, I go look at my market cap and I'm like, nah, I need candles.
But there are people that literally trade the formation of the candle. Like if it was a shooting star, that's when they trade. Yep. If it's a dojo or whatever, that's when they trade. Yep. I don't personally do that, but I have to use candle just to look at the price action. But
I can't look at anything under a 30-minute candle interval. I think anything under that is too ridiculous for me.
Basically, I'm only using it to confirm what I already think I see on the higher time frames.
Yeah, for
sure.
What
about for your swing trading? Do you like the Heikin-Ashi candles to smooth out the data?
I don't use them. No.
I've always used regular candles.
No, yeah. I mean, I like looking at my opening. But here's the thing, especially the daily, and James, you'll disagree with me here. There's not really an open and close to the day. Right, I know you'll disagree with me, James, but if you're looking at a daily candle, it's still a little wonky, right? Like, because it's a 24-hour open trading schedule. It's not like the 9-to-5 system we have in the New York Stock Exchange, where it opens at 9, it closes at 5, and then you have a whole day of after-hours trading, which really nothing much happens unless you're a weed stock, right?
No, I mean, I think so. I think it is absolutely. Like,
you think there's an actual open and close to the day, to crypto day?
Well, I mean, technically on the chart it is.
Well, it's just
on the chart it is.
Window. The candle opens, and 24 hours later it closes.
It's more dangerous.
That means at midnight, for example, at midnight at 12 o'clock you're in the same day, and then at 12:01 you're in a different day.
Yeah.
Right. There's no brief of, hey, let's think about our strategy
like
overnight.
Rebalancing.
Exactly. There's no balancing act whatsoever. It's a systematic curve. It's just the market is always active, and that's why even on the daily intervals, I have to shake my head a little bit, and I'm just like, where do these open and closes, where do these candlestick formations really come from? Because your range, when you see your tails go up and down, you're just like what are we actually looking at when we're looking at tails, right? Because the open and close could be so arbitrary in the entire crypto trading day. And I'm sorry if this confuses a lot of people, but everybody here on the stream knows about candles. it's.
I think it actually gives us a better, clear, and cleaner indication of price action, because if you take equities, it closes at 4 o'clock or whatever. I don't trade equities anymore, and then you have extended hours, and then you have the next day pre-trading, right? Well, there could be gap ups and gap downs, and now you could be screwing yourself over.
I think it's interesting because you've got different countries opening at different times, or you've got Asia, Australia, Europe, America, all trading at their preferred times during the day. And I think you can, and the candlesticks tell a story, and each day there's a new one, and they tell a story in themselves. So I think it just works perpetually like that.
So why not just use lines at that point? Why not just take out the candle and just switch to lines?
Because
candles.
Because it still tells a story. Like, I can't see a wick on a line chart.
Right. And the wicks, the wicks tell a lot. There's a lot.
The wicks tell a lot.
Yeah.
You can still have a cloud, right? You can still have that cloud which follows the highs and the lows of that particular trading period.
What am I going to do with my TD sequential indicator then?
Is TD, so that's some advanced stuff. I see why he's got like 8 screens back there.
Yeah, dude.
That's some advanced stuff right there.
This dude's living in the future.
Get my indicator.
Yeah, James, you want to pull it up? Let's show him.
So really quickly, while he does that, a guy in the chat room said, FZJ80 says, price action and volume, that's all you need. Indicators are lagging. What do you guys think about that?
That's true. That's true. RSI lags hardcore. RSI lags, whatever your interval is, multiply that by 4, and that's how much it's lagging. If you look at a basic, if you go into Excel and you pull up the RSI formula that they have templates of, and you input it, it actually doesn't show an accurate depiction until 4 hours into the future, right? Mm-hmm. But you're not in 4 hours in the future; you're in the present. And I completely agree with that. Volume and price action is, like you said, fundamentals. You just look at the price action and volume, right?
That's it. Because what happens when I've learned, again, I've been trading guys for like 13 years, and it's just like when you rely on those indicators, you end up either relying too heavily on them, or you don't, and you second guess yourself, because they're not really going to be right 100% of the time, not even nearly. So unless you go higher time scales, you go like hour, more so like day. If you have indicators on a day chart, possibly, I think that, but you're going to miss like 40% of the move because you have to wait another day or two for the actual indicator to show you your buy. So that's what's wrong with it, using those on the larger time scales.
Miles says, what does good price action look like? I mean, ultimately, the price action is just, that's the line or the candles. So what good price action looks like is this. Here, wait, I can do crypto weatherman. Hold up. I'm going to move me.
I'm just sharing the screen for the TD sequential for a second.
All right.
Here, let me hide the chat. And there. So this.
Can you see it?
Take it away, James.
So this looks like good price action right here, and this is bad price action right here, right? I mean, that's just standard. Green candles good, red candles bad. Okay, that was my.
Well, not necessarily. Red candles sometimes.
That's hard, Snake. I don't know how you do that, man.
Well, yeah, you need practice, bro.
Yeah.
But
you can see the chart there.
Yeah,
we can see the chart, man. Take it away, James.
Yeah, so this is a TD sequential indicator I did. It's called TD DC13. You can get it. It's free on TradingView, and it has the full 13 count on the TD sequential. I've put the colors how I like them. You see the 9 on the blue 9. That's a reversal indicator, and the candlestick structure also pointed towards a reversal. And you see we reversed from there. We had a 9 orange. You would have let that one. You'd let the count go a little bit longer. We ended up going to a 12, and we had a reversal candle there with that doji type of candle.
13,
see then the 13 that we had on the 4th of December, the blue 13. they're very rare on the daily. We haven't had one of them since December. And then straight away after that, that was also where a mole called the top at 7,400. For me, it was the 13. Like I said, it hadn't happened since December, and straight after that, we dumped. So it's quite a powerful indicator. It makes it a bit easier with the full 13 count adapted for crypto. So that's that. Get the indicator.
And
That's
anybody
cool. I have
who's
to
on
check that out.
Stream,
So-
you can get this, right?
So my
Yeah,
question
it's free,
is,
yeah.
this count, is it based on like Elliott wave, or you know how you have your A, B,
No.
C, D, 1, 2, 3?
What are the parameters?
What is it? Yeah,
Yeah.
how does that even work?
Yeah, so it depends where the candles close in relation to 4 candles behind it. So it has to close above or below the 4 candles previous. So if it doesn't, invalidates and starts to count again. So I recommend people look at the theory. It's quite simple. Just have a search on old Google there, and it's a complementary indicator. You can see the things I had. Is my screen still sharing? No.
Yeah.
I had some other complementary indicators down the bottom that help me spot momentum. It's you don't use TD by itself, but it's definitely complementary.
Nice.
What do you guys think? All
Learn
right,
something new every day. Tone Vase,
He's big
I've
on
seen
the
him
TD
using that
sequential.
count stuff. I didn't know what the hell that was. I don't really watch
Yeah,
it
well-
like that.
Well, I just created one like Tone Vase, in essence, but mine's free.
Boom! There you have it, people.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about order books, man? Let me hear it. Order books.
I don't look
Yeah,
at
well-
them.
Yeah, for me, it's massive on
good.
day trading. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean much on the bigger picture.
Right.
It's good for support and resistance. There's certain programs where you can put previous orders on the chart, and I just filter them out by the larger ones. Volume profiling. You can also aggregate the order books and display them on the chart as support and resistance.
You can do that. I did not know that.
Yeah,
There's
well,
a program out
have
there.
you watched my instructional videos?
Nope, he sure hasn't.
No. Jason was supposed to give me the notes on it,
There-
but never did.
I
I was supposed to cheat
They're
off
on the-
him.
They're on the channel.
On
They're
my
on there.
test.
They're in there in the private
So-
section.
They're in the Moon Lounge.
That's right,
So
they're
the
in lounge.
reason why I don't do order books, primarily is because I swing trade, but also even if you're looking at like the lower frequencies or time scale, it's you have a lot of fake orders.
Bots will trick you because they put a
Yeah,
huge
the bots
buy
will
order,
throw in right.
prop it up fake, and then they pull the buy order at the last second. Our guy Jordan loves to beat up bots with that. I was hoping he was going to make it on tonight, but I'm guessing we've been on this long. He probably is stuck in that blizzard.
There's ways to work around it though. So when I look at the order books, I can actually break down. Say if there's an order of 100 Bitcoin to sell in the order book, I can break that down and see exactly how many orders are within that 100.
So if
And
they're
you can
like
kinda get-
sequential, the same amount all the way across, you kind of know.
Yeah,
Well, so I'll be able to say there might be 60 orders that make up that one order at that price of 100 Bitcoin. So I
Yeah.
know there's 60 people with these orders, and it's not. If it was just one guy with 100 Bitcoin, it was probably just spoofing the order book or trying to make it look like there was a lot of sell pressure. So you can you can look a bit deeper, and you can see the pressures as well. So I'll look at like this trades counter where I see the pressures between buys and sells on under 1 Bitcoin and over 1 Bitcoin, so I can see what the bigger players are doing in relation to the smaller ones. There's quite a lot you can do, and it's very valuable on the smaller time frames.
Interesting. To check that out.
Yeah, so one of them is Tensor Charts. They've just gone. They were free for a long time. They've just gone to subscription now. So what you
that
get
was
for
like
free
just a
is
week or two ago when they changed to
Yeah,
subscription.
it's horrible. And what you get for free is just, it's no good. There's Bookmap as well. I had a look at a trader's custom Bookmap package, and that was awesome for BitMEX.
Did we lose the
I-
signal?
Dude,
What's that?
Did we lose the signal on YouTube?
No, we're still live. We still got
Oh, we're still live?
people on. We're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's cool. I learned something new.
Yeah, man. This has been a learning experience, nevertheless, for me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me too, man.
That's
really
half of
good.
the fun of these things, right? It's getting together and talking crypto, but then hopefully we get to level up our skill set in the meantime.
Mhm.
You know.
I'm about to buy
Mhm.
some more EOS on Kraken.
Yes, yes. Shield success.
Man. All right. Well, it's been a while, guys.
Well, yeah, we're
I'm-
pushing up on 2 hours
Yeah.
at this point, so
Yeah.
this has definitely been a long one. But man, I'm glad your game is sticking around, Blood. That was great. And
Oh yeah,
obviously,
no doubt. I enjoy it.
James,
Absolutely.
I know you're on the other side of the world, so thanks for making some time for us.
Yeah, real
for
good.
sure, man. And,
Guys, just check me out on just type in Crypto Blood on
In
YouTube,
fact,
and my
you don't even have to
Twitter
do
is
that. Go down and look in the description
okay.
down below. I got the
Go
link
in
to
the-
his
yep,
website
go down
and
there,
the link
guys.
to his YouTube. So be sure to
All
check
right,
him out.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right,
man. Well, this
fellas.
was awesome.
Yo.
Like I said, you're welcome on the channel anytime, dude. You know, and if, however else you want to collab in the future. You know, I am all for helping push the people who are fighting the good fight. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have you on my channel sometime, Jay.
yeah, I'd love
Just
to,
let me
man.
know.
It'd be great.
Talk something.
Yeah, well, thanks for having us, and a shout out to Crypto Blood.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Right on, guys.
All right, fellas. Take
All
care
right,
now.
well, it's been great. I will be back tomorrow, and we'll see you
we'll
guys
see
all
you
then.
guys in the
Till
Moon
then.
Lounge as well. So if you guys don't know what the Moon Lounge is, sign up for that as well. So
Yeah, still offering the 14-day free trial for anybody who is not a Moon Lounge member. If you want to come in and check it out, we would love to have you in there. So click down below. Actually, also in the description. All the stuff is in the description. You want to try Crypto Hopper?
you
In
can
the
join for
description.
free and
You
just
wanna-
be a free lounge member.
Yep. Yeah, if you're already a Discord member, you can jump into our Discord server and be part of the free lounge. Link down below in the comments. So, and with that, I would say this also. Leave us a comment below. Did you enjoy having Crypto Blood on? Find any good information? Leave us a comment down below and let us know what you like. We want to put on the good content for you guys. So,
Holla.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Peace out, guys. Thanks again.
Take it easy.
Thank you. We still